So what I'm going to be teaching you today is a mobilization for the first rib. So this could be a really important mobilization. I taught this recently to a client who was having symptoms of tingling down her arms when she was putting on her makeup. So what we figured out was that this rib was elevated on her, and it was elevating as she was doing this motion, and then that was causing a pinching of the nerves that run down the arm. So we did a mobilization to this rib that she could do herself, and it helped with her symptoms a lot. I think it made her symptoms completely go away. Okay, so what we're going to do is I have two yoga blocks here, and they're set up against a wall. And then I'm going to take this ball. This is a yoga tune-up ball that you could buy at tuneupfitness.com or on Amazon. And this is a technique that was designed by Jill Miller of Yoga Tune-Up. So I'm going to take the ball and I'm going to place it right around here. This is where my first rib is. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to mobilize the rib in a downward direction. So here's how we're going to do it. I'm going to lay on my back. I'm going to take the rib the ball right here on my first rib. I lay right against these two blocks. And then I'm going to take the ball and I'm going to place it where my first rib is. Now my head could either be on the block or it could be off the block. For my body, I prefer to have my head on the block. And then what I'm doing is I'm taking my feet and I'm pushing my feet down to kind of pull my body up. And that's that depression of the ball into my first rib. And then I'm there, I hold that. I could take some deep breaths there and out. So as you inhale, there might be this tendency of the rib to elevate during the inhalation. So I'm really holding my pressure there as I take my inhalation. Everything in my body is nice and relaxed. And I'm just going to a point of maybe a little bit of discomfort or feeling like I'm doing something, but I'm only feeling it here. So I'm not doing it to the point where I'm like holding my body or clenching my glutes or my face. Everything else in my body is relaxed. And then what you could do is you could add on some movement. So one of them is neck. I just moved my neck. You could take your neck and just move it from side to side as you're holding this downward pressure on the ball. My head could be down on the floor. My head could be up, as I said. And then you could add arm movement. So I'm holding that pressure on the ball and I'm taking my arm and I could raise it up and down. And I really feel this depression as I raise my arm over my head. Really feel like I'm doing something here. And then you could do like a free form movement. So the client I was telling you about, what I had her do is replicate the movement that she was getting her symptoms in. So she was getting symptoms as she raised her arm up. So we did exactly that movement, raising the arm up, keeping that downward pressure on the first rib, making sure that there's no symptoms. Okay, so if you do this and there's symptoms down your arm, you would stop. That's not what we're going for. But as long as I'm symptom free, I could be here, I could be making windmills with my arm. And then that's the movement. And then when I'm done, I can take the pressure off and just breathe and see how that feels. I could also recheck the movement. So for this client, if this movement caused symptoms, she could recheck that and see how that feels.